So, my hours for some chaos. Oops, hold up. Sorry, it's not even plugged in. Last. I'm kind of drained because my shit stream I had tonight. So, I'm gonna just go ahead and just get right into the materials. This is the last video of the night. Well, I actually, I actually might make like one more video. That's not me talking, but this is my last dialogue video for the night, I should say. Just because I've had a little bit of trouble with my stream, and I feel drained because of my stream. So, let's get started on this. Without further ado, let's talk about the character. Another character that doesn't get as much said about this. Mr. Lockhart, Tifa's father. Who is Mr. Lockhart? Now, Mr. Lockhart is a character that only existed during the Nibelheim arc and during parts of Crisis Core, and in the OVA The Last Order. Anything dealing with the Nibelheim burning arc is pretty much the only time you get to know about this character. So there was nothing told about Tifa's father, Mr. Lockhart, before. So, to know who Mr. Lockhart is. Mr. Lockhart is pretty much a proud man, with a proud daughter, who's taught on Master Zongin's martial arts. And I think before Tifa, Mr. Lockhart was trained under Master Zongin as well, which explains why Tifa was raised by Master Zongin before she joined Avalanche, because Master Zongin was a family friend of Mr. Lockhart. So, Master Zongin has saved Mr. Lockhart, so I'm just calling Mr. Lockhart's life, a couple of times, and trained him the best martial arts ever. Even though it wasn't the best, even though it didn't save his life against Sephiroth during the betrayal of Nibelheim, considering Mr. Lockhart was the very first victim of Sephiroth. So, that's all we really knew about him. He was the first victim. And just like Cloud's mother, it also caused Tifa to change. Because Tifa was close to her father, because Tifa's mother has died. And because of that, she became friends with Cloud, and it kind of made it all better. Of course, Mr. Lockhart never approved of Cloud's strife, and not because of the soldier heritage. Even before that, Tifa Lockhart was put in a coma because they both went on the mountain and a monster attacked both of them, and Tifa was in a coma for like 2 months, which made Mr. Lockhart furious and told Cloud Strife never to go to their house and visit Tifa ever again, because, well, Mr. Lockhart is a protective father figure, okay? Let's just put it that way. You ain't gonna get into DMs with, Tifa Lockhart right in front of her father. Her father is extremely protective. But besides the point, he was also in some of Cloud's memories due to the fact that's what happened. Of course, sadly, tragedy has befallen him. Sephiroth has figured out his origins and became crazy and psychopathic, killing everybody in sight and burning the town. Mr. Lockhart became one of Sephiroth's first victims. In fact, he was only known pretty much because he was Sephiroth's first victim. So, pretty much that's why, Tifa started hating Soldier. He even blamed Zack for it. And Zack, says, I'm not going to ask you to forgive me because he understands. But yes, that's what caused Tifa to train under Master Zongen and then soon join Avalanche. Not knowing that Cloud later on that Cloud would join Avalanche. But I also think Mr. Lockhart was also a tour guide, just like Tifa. You know, he was a tour guide once who was also kind of a photographer, just like Tifa was in Crisis Core. He pretty much took all the tourists anywhere before Tifa was born. He took all the tourists of Nibelheim to the Mount Nibel, the broken down reactor, through the whole town, even in Shinra Manor. Except for the forbidden part, and that's the basement of Shinra Manor. But, you know, other than that, Mr. Lockhart was a tour guide who trained under Master Zhang, just like Tifa has. You know, but even his training wasn't enough because he got killed. He was also later on he became Sephiroth's victim, so we know that much. You know, and we know that Master Zhang was a family friend to Mr. Lockhart, and hence why, if anything were to happen to Mr. Lockhart, Zhang not only would teach Tifa martial arts and the art of fighting, but he would also raise Tifa as if Tifa was his own daughter. You know, if anything were to happen to him, and unfortunately it did. Unfortunately it did, and you know, again, tragedy has befallen everybody in Nibelheim. And that's pretty much all we pretty much know about Mr. Lockhart. Now, there are some pieces explained in the live stream novelization. And there are some pieces explained in other novels, fan novels, and novels that Square Enix counts as canon. You know, even, and I think Mr. Lockhart was also in The Man with the Black Cloak, because it was all Sephiroth's story. And I think with The Man with the Black Cloak, it showed Mr. Lockhart trying to fight Sephiroth. Of course, Sephiroth bettered him. You know, he followed Sephiroth into the... He followed Sephiroth into the reactor to challenge Sephiroth to save the people in the village. You know, because he knows Sephiroth has gone completely off. Though Sephiroth was like 50 times stronger than this guy, so you know, of course he was gonna lose. But he was actually the very first. Mr. Lockhart was actually the very first victim. Was pretty much one of the biggest known victims of Sephiroth. I wouldn't say he's actually the first. I thought he would be the first, but you know, he would be the first known victim of Sephiroth, and that's why, you know, Tifa picks up Sephiroth's sword and tries to fight Sephiroth. He losing doing it. This actually gave Cloud the strength that this actually gave Cloud strength and power he never had before, because now Cloud's fueled by hatred and anger. You know, grabbed Zack's Buster Sword, and Zack told him to finish him off, but seeing Tifa lying there like that, seeing Tifa's dad there like that, knowing that his mother got killed in the firestorm that Sephiroth started. This is Mr. Lockhart indirectly, because of his failure and caused Tifa to fight back, which caused Tifa to get knocked back. Indirectly, Mr. Lockhart was the one who actually helped Cloud get the anger Zenkai boost to survive Sephiroth's strike right in the heart and make it so Sephiroth got beat and sent into the live stream, hoping never to see Sephiroth ever again. Of course, well, Sephiroth returns, but, you know, indirectly, Mr. Lockhart is the one who actually helped unlock Cloud's true potential. And this is the Cloud with no Genova cells or Mako injections. This is human Cloud, stabbed close to his heart. And because of that anger and hatred Cloud has, you know, it knocks Sephiroth into the live stream, beating Sephiroth. So Cloud beat Sephiroth thanks to the actions of Mr. Lockhart. You know, so pretty much because of his failure, it got Tifa involved. And when you get Tifa involved in front of Cloud, and after Cloud has lost a lot, oh, it's done. It's over. I don't give a shit if you're Sephiroth or anybody else. You're done. You done fucked up. But nonetheless, Mr. Lockhart is actually the one who actually indirectly unlocked Cloud's true potential. So may the crystal be with you. And if you got anything, comments below. If you got any more to add.
You could watch me fall. I cannot feel it anymore. The soul you catch, the soul Feel